Because of how bad it was, a lot of people have been talking a lot about the cart before the ponies. And even I have had some additional thoughts, or some thoughts I already said that I want to restate on this particular matter. So here's a few more thoughts I've had about the cart before the ponies. One, this is not a repeat of Showstoppers. In the Showstoppers, the CMC attempted stills that were clearly not the stills they were good at. In this one, the CMC are knowingly attempting stills that they're not good at because they want to get good at new stills, branch out and try something different. Nor would I compare this to any of the other CMC and sister-based episodes. This is much more its own thing. The fact that nobody likes this because it was predictable is really only because you've seen a lot of TV shows that have done this exact same premise before. That being said, it really doesn't bring anything new to the table, and in fact misses several opportunities. A lot of people have said that it could have been possible for the CMC to have switched sisters, switched carts, or gotten other ponies to help them, and I think those are all actually great ways to have made a better ending for this episode. Show the CMC choose different ponies besides their sisters to help them on the project when their sisters aren't doing the way they want them to do it. Or switch carts and team up with different sisters instead of their own sisters. Or ask other family members to help them, or maybe seek help from Twilight or Starlight Glimmer or Fluttershy. I could see a lot of fun, very interesting possibilities coming from the premise of taking some route other than the one that they did, which was getting stale, repetitive, and predictable way too early in the episode. I also noticed that when Rarity is using her swan cart and she's basically cheating by flapping the wings of the cart to slow other ponies down, this was a completely unnecessary move, as Rarity's cart only had to cross the finish line. It did not have to place in any particular order. Only Rainbow Dash is getting the prize for fastest. The others just have to cross the finish line. It was completely pointless to flap your wings and deliberately hold back other ponies from passing you and crossing the finish line before you, when all you really had to do was just finish the race. And while the racetrack may have been kind of weird, I think it could have been possible to have pulled off that weird design safely if everyone had been doing at a decent pace instead of racing each other. And I really would like to try playing this as a video game, or even seeing it as a toy line. I just still haven't come across those videos that I saw a few weeks prior to this, which made me think of that possibility. But I would like to see something official from Hasbro in the current generation on this subject, not just fan-made stuff. The song has begun to stick in my head a little bit more frequently, but I still don't consider it nearly as good as some of the songs we've gotten previous. And I am starting to worry that Season 6 might be the beginning of a long string of progressively less interesting seasons. I don't know what we can do to keep the quality of the series up, but I definitely think we hit a peak of quality in Season 5, and now things can easily go downhill. And I don't think Hasbro's going to give up the opportunity to make lots of money by going out on the series while it's on the top. They're probably going to keep milking MLP and Generation 4 for as long as they can. And when they do a new generation, there's no guarantee it'll even closely resemble what we've already seen. I do have hope, however, for upcoming episodes, as they do sound quite a bit more interesting. The biggest fail for this episode was the fact that the CMC did indeed tell their older sisters that they didn't want to do what their older sisters wanted to do, and they just simply didn't listen. Then when the CMC were apologizing and explaining the mess, they were talking about how hard it is to talk to older ponies. Except they did talk to older ponies, just the older ponies didn't listen. Like Princess Spice, this episode gets its morals and messages mixed up, and a lot of people hear the wrong thing and don't really see what the real problem was. And I also feel it was a huge missed opportunity not to have a larger number of cars with a larger number of creative and unique ideas. We could have done a lot more wacky races style by having all of the cars attempting to be either traditional or creative, and fewer of the cars being fastest. And maybe even having more than 6 or so cars in the lineup so that we could have had even more interesting designs. I mean, characters like Silver Spoon, who were very prominent, were left out of the race lineup altogether. I don't even think Twist had a car. And I certainly didn't see cars for a large number of other background foals. So I definitely feel like there were a lot of students who didn't even partake in this race and could have had at least 2 or 3 rows of unique car designs. We could have even gone for more of a speed racer type of angle with cars deliberately cheating on each other and an unknown masked pony helping out one of the main characters. But alas, we didn't go for wacky races or speed racer, even if the references to wacky races were in there subtly. There wasn't enough in them to make it a truly fun episode. I still think that the parts of it that worked, like Rarity's flashback to being beaten by Philly Derpy, and some of that classroom stuff does indeed work. The idea that teachers teaching physics isn't something that you teach normal foals, that it would normally be saved until high school or college level, that's kind of true, but kind of not, because there are plenty of elementary level teachers who will teach very, very super simplified versions of physics lessons, which is exactly what this was. So I wouldn't harp on that idea too much either. I don't have my notes in front of me, but I am pressed for time and I want to get this out sooner than later. So I think that's about all of the thoughts I have for this for right now. Here's hoping that this next upcoming episode and the episode after it are both good ones. Otherwise, I'll start to become even more worried. Anyhow, thank you for watching and good night.